Thank you. Thank you. It's a great state. I love this state. I love this state. You know, we have businesses in this state, right? We have business. Lots of employees. I pay them too much money, but that's okay. Who cares? Who cares? Thank you, everybody. This is some crowd of people. Wow. Wow. Thank you very much. So would you rather be here or would you rather be with crooked Hillary Clinton? What a mess they have going. Okay, so we'll talk. We'll talk. So here's the story. So I'm not a fan of Bernie Sanders. We agree on one thing, trade, but we're going to do something about it. He can't. He just knows it's no good. I know it's no good, but we're going to make great trade deals. Okay, we're going to bring our jobs back to North Carolina because your jobs, your manufacturing, we got to bring those jobs back. But here's the story. Here's the story. She's got bad judgment. So she picks a guy who's the opposite of Bernie. And crazy Bernie's going crazy right now. Okay. Okay. He doesn't know what to do. And he's losing his legacy because he's just sort of given up. You know, I always tell my kids, never give up. Never, ever give up. And Bernie has given up. I didn't think from him he would do that. But, you know, he's all in for Hillary now. And to show you how she pays him back, she actually goes out and picks a guy who's like everything that he stands for. Now, I don't like the other side of it. But, you know, almost 50% of those people want not what he wants. And she picked somebody that's wrong. So they're having massive protests over there. Now, you heard that was going to happen with the Republican convention. We had a great convention, by the way. You know? If what happened to them happened to us, which is disastrous, right? She said it. We would have headlines all over the world. Republicans, disaster. It's a disaster. It's the worst thing we've ever seen in the history of conventions. With them, they say, oh, you have to see what's going on. It's not good. And they're Bernie people that have been really disenfranchised. You know, he got almost 50% of the vote. That's okay. Don't worry about it. That's a Bernie people. That's the dying remnant of a Bernie person. That's the last of them. That's the last. No, we're going to get Bernie people coming here. We're going to get Bernie people coming here. Yeah, you can get them out. Go ahead. That's okay. All right. He looks like a nice guy. Are you okay? They're not hurting you. Don't touch him. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. We got some rough people in this audience, right? We got rough people. I always say, the safest place you can be in this country is at a Trump rally, and it's true. It's true. Remember they were having the dialogue going about, oh, there's fighting, there's fighting. Let me tell you, we have such love in those rooms, and there was such love in that convention center. And by the way, Cleveland, Ohio did a fantastic job. Did a fantastic job. And the police and the Secret Service were unbelievable. Not a problem. I mean, not a problem. In fact, they were so good, I think everyone said, let's just stay away. This is too tough. It shows you what law and order can do, right? They stayed away. Law and order. Our police. Got to take care of our police. But we had an amazing convention. It was incredible. But seriously, there's a double standard. And if what happens right now tonight, because it's really quite exciting to watch. Quite exciting. But Bernie has given up, and I never thought I was going to see that. And his people aren't. I think his people are going to throw Bernie overboard. And I think they're going to probably choose somebody else. They'll pick somebody else. But, you know, they want help. And I'll bet you a lot of their people come to us. Because, seriously, and we'll take them. We'll take them. We'll take them. We'll even take that guy over there. We'll take them. And the reason we'll take them, and the reason they want to come, is because there's nobody better on trade than I am. Nobody. We have been ripped off on trade for so long, for so many billions and billions and trillions, actually, of dollars, that it's hard to believe that our country even exists. Now, we're not doing well. You know, the stock market is the only indicator and it's a false indicator. It's cheap money. It's very cheap money. You watch what's going to happen. Unless I'm president, we're going to do it very nicely, believe me. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. But you just watch what happens. You know the old story, you look for a job, you look, you can't get a job. Nobody gets a job. Your manufacturing's down 50%, 50% in this area. And you know what it is? It's federal policy. It's policy where we have incompetent people negotiating the biggest deals in the world, bigger than companies, bigger than anything, and we have political hacks doing our negotiating instead of using our grandmasters. And we have grandmasters that are better than anybody in the world, and nobody ever calls them, and all they do is keep getting richer and richer, and that's fine. We have to use our people. You know, it's like anything else. It's like Jack Nicklaus hitting a golf ball. It's like whatever it is. It's like whatever it is. They're great, talented people, and we have to use our best and our finest. You know, in China, little different system slightly, right? They take their smartest from a young age, and it's like a pyramid. The smartest, and they get their few smartest. Guess who negotiates against our clowns? Those top people. And you know, with China, there's no games. They don't walk in and say, because I do a lot of business with China. I've made a lot of money with China, tremendous amount of money. I have tenants from China. I have the biggest bank in the world in one of my buildings from China. I have the Bank of America building in San Francisco, 1290 Avenue. There are a lot of things through China. And China's fine. It's good. I don't object to what China's doing. I object to the fact that our leaders let them get away with it. How stupid can they be? How stupid can they be? And I have friends from China, very substantial people. They tell me, Donald, how do you let this happen? Now, this is in all fairness, this was before I ran for president. Now they're saying, I didn't really say that. No, I think. But they used to say before they thought I was going to do this, can you believe how stupid the government that we get away with this? They devalue their currency. What they do with their currency, they are grandmasters at currency manipulation. And they make it impossible for our companies to compete. They're not allowed to do that, folks, but nobody tells them they're not allowed to do it. They build massive fortresses in the South China Sea. Now, I'll tell you, I've been going around and around on this because we protect many nations. Nobody knew that. You know, I'll bet you even I see some very highly sophisticated people in the front, some of whom I know. I know two of them right over here who are great businessmen. They're ruthless. In fact, I could have these two guys negotiate with China would do very well. Okay? But I know some of the folks in the audience. And I will tell you, we have the strength. We have the power. We have the piggy bank. Without us, we have rebuilt China because they've taken so much money out. We have done for Japan that nobody's done for Japan like we've done. They send us millions of cars, and we send them beef. Okay? Think of it. You look at a trade imbalance, look at the business Japan does, and then look at the business we do. It's like up to the ceiling and down to the floor. It's a joke. It's a joke. And we're not going to put up with it anymore. And the reason... And the reason it happens is because special interests and lobbyists control the system. And these lobbyists are very good. I know many of them. Hey, I used to use them. I hate to tell you, okay? Who knows the system better than Trump? Believe me, I was very good. I'm the only one that can fix it. That's why. Oh, do I know the system? But these lobbyists are good. And they have stamped on their forehead, Clinton, I own Clinton. It goes like this. I own Clinton. You got to pay them millions of dollars. But you pay them the money, they get it done. I know this. People know this. The press knows this, but they don't like talking about it too much because the press likes their position right now. And I'm serious. The mess that's going on right now with the Democrats, if that was happening to us, it would be a worldwide travesty because they would build it up to a point like you've never seen before. Never seen before. And it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. So we're going to straighten out trade. And we're going to straighten out a lot of things. But, you know, loyalty is very important. And I watch Debbie Wasserman Schultz, right? Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Oh. And I've watched her for years. And what she was is Hillary Clinton's flunky. Okay, that's what she was. You can say what you want. It was obvious. And the system's rigged, and she was rigging the system for Hillary. As soon as there's heat put on Hillary's person, Hillary says, "You're fired. Debbie, you're fired. Get out of here. I don't want anything to do with it. Debbie, you're fired, Debbie. You were loyal to me for years, and you're fired." That's what she said. Boy, did she give up fast. Hillary, that's a real strong person, right? Do you think ISIS is worried, folks? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think ISIS is too worried. I don't think China is too worried. I don't think anybody's too worried. We need strong. You know, she said recently, "I don't like Donald Trump's my tone. I don't like his tone." Jeb Bush used to say that, too. It's true. Now, Jeb Bush, Jeb said it and Hillary said it, two people. She said, "I don't like his tone," and Jeb said he does. So we won't talk about it. Where's Jeb now, by the way? No, we won't talk about it. Hey, we will not talk about it. We never get into the past, right? We only talk about Hillary, the future. The future of beating Hillary. That's what we're going to do. We're going to beat her so badly. But she said, "I don't like his tone." Well, let me tell you something, folks. They're chopping off heads in the Middle East. Not since medieval times. Has anyone seen, I don't know, this is a new phenomenon from 4 or 5 years ago it started. From medieval times, I used to read, and I said, no, I don't believe that. But they did. They chopped off heads. Now they chop off heads again. They drown people in steel cages, especially if you happen to be Christian. If you're Christian, you have no chance. You know, in the old days, before the migration, meaning 3 years ago, if you were Christian, no, it's true. I mean, let's assume the migration started. A friend of mine told me this. He's so up in this. This is what he studies. This is what he knows. And I understand it and I love it because, and one of the reasons I love it, the evangelicals have been so good to me. They have treated me so good. They have treated me so good. They have treated me so good. I won with the evangelicals. And I've had such support from so many of the pastors. I mean, like tremendous. And remember, I was supposed to not win some of these states. South Carolina, different states. By the way, North Carolina, I did great, right? North Carolina. Man. But I went into states, and they'd say, well, Donald Trump won't win with that state because it's highly, I think South Carolina was 68%. And they said, and different places, and I'd come out with these massive victories, and everyone would say, what's going on? And I have tremendous support from the ministers and the pastors and the rabbis, and we have just tremendous support. And one of the things we're doing is the Johnson Amendment. We're going to get rid of it so that our men and women of faith can speak their mind, okay? Can speak their mind. But the evangelicals have been so incredible to me. Honestly, I wouldn't be standing. I am Protestant, I'm Presbyterian, which probably shocks a lot of people, but I am. And we've had just a great time together. And we've had meetings and so many meetings. And a couple of meetings took place with 50, 60 ministers and pastors and 2 rabbis. And we'd look and I'd say, wow, what great support. Because they would pray in the room. They would talk. Nobody speaks more beautifully. Everything was good. But when it came to actually going out and supporting, they had a hard time doing it. I said, tell me something. Why? I know you love me. And I know you're so supportive. But why is it that when you go out, all of a sudden it's silencio? They said, well, we're not allowed to do that. Why? Why? He said, because of so-and-so, we lose our tax-exempt status. They lose their tax-exempt status. I said, so that means you have less power than those people walking down the street 35 stories below. He said, that's right. I said, well, we're going to change it. And I studied it, and we put in our platform that we're going to be able to get our ministers and our clergy, whether it's Catholic or Protestant or Muslim or anything, but we're going to get our people to be able to speak. And, you know, I hate to say it to the evangelicals and to my Christian friends, but they didn't get up to vote 4 years ago. They didn't vote. They did not vote for Romney. And if you're not going to vote this time, you're going to miss a great opportunity, because we're going to do things that nobody else but me could do. I'm telling you that. Nobody else. Nobody else. We're going to get that cleaned up. And that was my idea. You know, it's sort of interesting sometimes, because these are great people, great men and women, but they never really thought about it. They just lived with this. They lived with it. They lose their tax exemption if they start going political. So in other words, they don't have the right to, it's almost like taking away your freedom, you know, it's freedom of speech, right? So we're going to do things for the Christian, Jewish, Catholic, for the evangelicals. We're going to do something that nobody else is going to be able to do, and we're going to get it done. Just remember this. The power that you have is incredible. 50% of our country is men, where I'm doing very, very well. Record-setting numbers, folks. That's the good news. Let me give you the bad news. The women, I don't know what's going on with the women here, but I think I'm doing well with the women. I'll tell you, my daughter does well, Ivanka. She's doing well with the women. She's doing. And she understands the real Donald. And I think we're doing well with the women. You know, every time I go, we have massive crowds like this. And we have so many women. They have signs all over the place. Women for, they put a for. I love you too. Thank you. They put a for. It's women for. See? Women for Trump, right? And I think I'm doing well with women. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know. But we're doing well with men. And here's the good news. Whatever we're doing something right, because we had, I believe, the largest bump in the history of conventions. Now, do you remember when they said, when I went in, well, if he stays even, it will be good? I had one guy, just to show you how dishonest these reporters are, right? So we're walking out, and I'm with my people. I had just finished my speech, and he's an important political reporter. And he said, Mr. Trump, that was an A+. I did a good job, don't you think? I mean, you know, not so easy. That's a lot of people. They say you're on in the country, you're on all over the world. All right, go out, Mr. Trump. Boom. You know, you think that's easy, right? But, so I leave, and this political reporter, I won't embarrass him, but this political reporter says, that was good. I said, by the way, I'm screaming because there's so many people around, everyone's listening. I said, what was my grade? He said, A+. I said, A+. That's the highest grade he's ever given. He never even gave an A. He grades people, right? So he never gave, but he said, it was an A+ tonight, Mr. Trump. Great. The next day, 2 days later, I see it on television. He's asking his partner, how was it? The same guy that said, A+, great, great delivery. Unbelievable. As good as it gets. That's what he said in front of a lot of witnesses. So then he's on television, asks his partner, how was it? Not good. Oh. Now, did he come up? He actually said, bad speech, bad delivery. Bad speech. He's the only one that said it. Now, did my A+ guy say anything? No, he sat there like a lump. Because these people are dishonest. Now, he didn't say bad speech. You know, because even the haters, they said it was dark. That's all they said. Some said the delivery was great, the speech was great, it was very dark. That was their negativity, okay? Not what the other guy said, but forget it. They have their own agenda. But listen to this. It wasn't dark. You know what it was? It was optimistic. Because I said what was going to happen, and I said we're going to fix it. We're going to have law and order. We're going to take care of our cops. Our cops are going to be vigilant and careful. They're going to be careful. They have to be careful. We have great people. Our police are great people. They have to be careful. They have to be vigilant. They have to be trained. But our police are great people. And they'll do 100,000 great things and you won't hear of one. And if they make it a mistake, and they make mistakes, and sometimes, I hate to say it, you have a rogue. You have a bad person. That happens. But you know what? That gets on the nightly news for the next month and a half. And it's so unfair in so many different ways. And they have to be careful. They have to be trained so well. But we have great people, the men and women of law enforcement. And we have to cherish those people and take care of those people. So the polls came out today, And they were really good. So, you know, bro. In fact, the CNN poll was so good that I might start liking them again. I don't know. It's possible. No. Do they treat me badly? You ever see the panels? They'll have a panel, 7 people, all Trump haters. Every single one is a Trump hater, and the host is a Trump hater. Other than that, I'm well represented, right? Oh, they hate me. But the polls, they call it the Clinton News Network, CNN, Clinton News Network. It's horrible. But the CNN poll came, I went up so much, I was down by a lot, now I'm up by 4 points, right? Leading. Leading by 4. And a lot of it had to do with the speech. A lot of it had to do with the fact that people understand what's going on. We're tired of being the stupid country. We're tired of being a country where our jobs are being taken away. We're tired of being the country where our military is being depleted. We're tired of being the country where we can't make good trade deals anymore. We're tired of being the country where we have no borders, and we will have a wall, and Mexico will pay for the wall. Believe me. So we're going to do things, and we're going to do them relatively fast. It's not so tough. And I'll tell you what, I've added things, because I started out, and it was about borders, right? You were there. I came down to the escalator with Melania. By the way, Melania made a great speech. And Ivanka made a great, Ivanka. Not easy. And my boys made a great speech. And Tiffany never did anything. Tiffany was so great. We had just a great time. But, you know, things have come up. When I first came down that escalator with Melania, I talked about crime on the border. I talked about borders. I talked about certain things. I talked about drugs. I talked about trade. Now we've added a lot of things, because since then the world has gone crazy. It's gone crazy. And I just saw here, and I'm not going to go over the stats of Winston Salem, because you know what's happening, right? You know, your jobs are being taken away. Your jobs are being taken, going to Mexico and lots of other places. Just remember, I got a whole 3 pages of stuff. What's the purpose of reading it, right? I just tell you, I understand very quickly. It's going to change so fast, your head will spin. Your head will spin. Your head will spin. But I see this newspaper article. Look, Tim Kaine. What a bad choice. What a bad choice. Really. In terms of party, I'm telling you, Hillary Clinton has bad judgment, okay? All right? Now, that party's not us, and for Tim Kaine, he'd be bad for us. But you know what? Half of the party liked crazy Bernie Sanders. Do you agree with that? So you got to at least give them a bone, right? They gave a guy that's on the other side, a guy that everybody dislikes. Now, you wouldn't have given him Pocahontas. It's too much. Nobody. You know why? No, she hasn't done anything. This Elizabeth Warren, she's a disaster. She's the least productive senator in the United States Senate, other than she has a big mouth. That's all. She's got a big mouth. Pocahontas. They said, we'd like you to apologize. I said, what? For Pocahontas. I said, all right, I'd like to apologize. Pocahontas, I'd like to apologize to you. Pocahontas. No, but I like the real Pocahontas. This Pocahontas is not so good. First of all, she's got less Native American blood in her than I have, okay? Believe me. So her life is a fraud in a sense, because she got into schools and she got into everything by saying she was a minority. And then they said, oh, prove it. This is after she's already out. Prove it. She goes, well, look at my cheekbones. Oh, look. Do you find anything nice about her cheekbones? I don't know. So, look at her cheekbones. It's a big con game we have going in Washington. So, here's what Kaine does. Kane urges president, this is a little while ago before they picked him, Kane urges president to allow more Syrian refugees to resettle in the United States. Now, you have to understand. Did you see what happened in Germany yesterday? The axe wielding where he killed 2 women, once pregnant, killed the baby, killed the woman, heads, everything. Oh, just not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. We don't know where these people are coming from. We don't know who they are. We don't know if the paperwork's correct. We don't know if they even have paperwork. We don't know anything about them. And we'll take care of them. Look, I have a bigger heart than anybody. We'll take care of them. We'll build safe zones in Syria. I'm not paying for it. See, I'm a developer. We never like to pay. It's a natural instinct. But we're going to get the Gulf states. They have nothing but money. And without us, they wouldn't exist for 2 weeks, okay? They wouldn't exist for 2 weeks. The Gulf states have so much money. They'll pay. We'll run it. We're good at running things. But we're not going to pay. We owe $19 trillion. Going to be $21 trillion because of the ridiculous budgets that have been passed recently. $21 trillion. But we're going to pay for safe zones in Syria. And let me tell you, many of these people would rather be in Syria than here. You know, it's very interesting. It's really an amazing thing. I have many people that work for me. And many people, they come into the country and they'll work in different, projects I have and lots of different places. And they'll, get either legalized or have the right to work here. And you know what their ambition is? They'll go back to some country that you wouldn't believe. Their ambition is to go back there. They don't want to be here. They want to go back. I don't really understand it. You don't understand it. You think would want to be in North Carolina. They want to get out of North Carolina. They want to go back to their home country. Just like you, if you worked over there, you'd want to come back to North Carolina. It's an amazing thing. We'll build safe zones in Syria. We'll have the Gulf states and other people pay for them. But we're not taking one person, not one person, into this country. We have enough problems because something's going on. We have enough problems. But look at this. Tim Kaine urges president to allow more Syrian refugees to resettle. Okay, so he'll, immediately pivot off that. He'll say he's decided to change his mind. Take a look at what's happening in Sweden, in Germany, in all of these countries that are taking them. It's a disaster. Germany's never had a problem like this. They're going to end up doing a number. I mean, they are very angry in Germany. I used to think Merkel was a great leader. Guess what? She blew it, okay? She blew it. Because what's going on there is disgraceful. Now, what's going on here, they talk about the Trojan horse, okay? We're not going to be the country that gets taken out by the Trojan horse. We're not going to allow. Hillary Clinton wants to allow, and this was sort of interesting because they have these fact checkers that are all on the very far left, PolitiFact. You could say 2 and 2 is 4, and they'll tell you you're wrong. It's the most amazing thing. 2 and 2 is 4. PoliticoFact, or whatever it's called, PolitiFact, said that 2 and 2 actually isn't 4, you see, because of this and that. So here's the story. We are going to make our country so strong again and so smart again. So smart again. Okay? And we're going to be respected again. We're not respected. Look, I deal at the highest levels of other countries, and they can't believe how stupid we are. And they tell me, they're friends of mine. How do you allow these things to happen, Donald? I said, I'm not allowing them to happen. We have leaders that are stupid. We have leaders that are incompetent, or we have leaders that are totally controlled by their lobbyists and their special interests. And believe me, that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. So Kaine is a guy that loves every trade deal that he's ever seen. Big fan of TPP. TPP, a disaster. So I'm against TPP. I come out strongly against it. Hillary's in favor of it. She sees me on television talking about it. She goes, and the next day, she said, I'm against it. You know why? I would kill her in the debate. Oh, and by the way, am I looking forward to that debate? Oh, I'm looking so forward to that debate. But here's what's going to happen. If she ever won, she will approve TPP so fast. They'll change a comma. They'll say, take that comma, move it over here. Then she'll say, oh, now I can approve it. because the special interests want it, folks. And they're going to strip the rest of your jobs out of here, just like NAFTA. Her husband signed NAFTA, one of the worst trade deals, I would say the worst trade deal ever signed anywhere in the world by any country. It cleaned out New England. It cleaned out New York State. It cleaned out North Carolina. A friend of mine, very interesting. You know, the nice part about speaking where you're not reading a speech, you know, oh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Or Hillary, where she's got the teleprompter all the time. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boring. Boring. No, the nice part is we can say what we want to say. But when you look at the trade and you look at the trade deals, it's destroying our country, and we're not going to let it happen anymore. So here's the story, folks. I'm a free trader. A lot of people, you know, the other side, they'll say, Trump is an isolationist. I'm not an isolationist. I'm the last person who wants isolation, okay? I want free trade, but it's got to be smart trade. It's got to be good trade. It's got to be trade where we make a lot of money. One of these people who's back there right now, I see the person, a semi-honest reporter, they're just better than most of them, said, well, are you a free trader? I said, absolutely. Absolutely. But we have to make good deals. He said, well, what's your definition of your trade? I said, here's my definition of my trade, because I know free trade and fair trade. I know every kind of trade there is. But here's my definition. What am I? I'm a person that wants to make great deals for our country. That's all. Call it free, call it fair, call it unfair. In fact, let's call it unfair. Unfair for us, not for them. Right now, our deals are unfair trade deals. And I call them that because they're unfair to us. We're going to make great deals for our country. We're going to bring jobs back. So I have a friend who's a great builder, and he builds plants. He wouldn't know how to build an apartment building if you paid him. His whole life he builds plants. And he started off building them, and now I think he's the biggest in the world, just about. And I saw him the other day, and he said, Donald, you're doing great. I can't believe it. Look what's going on. It's a movement. He's actually telling me all the things I already know. You know, too. Okay, it's a movement. We got a movement, but it's only a movement if we win in November. You got to go out on November 8th and vote. Okay. And that means my evangelicals have to vote. Got to vote. So he said to him, so I said, how's your business? How you doing? Unbelievable. Now, this is better than hiring a consultant. You know, I can get consultants. They'll come from Harvard and the Wharton School of Finance, and they'll charge you $1 million. They'll do a report that takes a year, and they'll give you the report, and then you don't read it because you don't have time. This is better. In 10 seconds, I learned. I said, so how's it going? He said, the company's doing great. It's the best I've ever done. Oh, that's good. I thought that was good for the United States. I said, that's fantastic. So where are you building the plants? He said, not many in the United States, but Donald, you have to see Mexico. What's going on over there is unbelievable. We're building some of the most sophisticated, some of the biggest plants ever, ever, ever. The guy's telling me, now, in all fairness, he's a great American. He'd rather build here. But I said to him, how are you doing? He said, what we're building in Mexico, there's never been anything like it. We're building some of the most sophisticated, some of the biggest plants in the world. And just take a look. Ford is moving there, massive. So many, I could name 100. You read about Carrier. I probably won, other than Bobby Knight, who helped me maybe even more, Indiana, because Carrier is based in Indiana, in Indianapolis to be exact, and they got fired. 1,400 people, great people got fired because they're moving to Mexico. So here's what's going to happen. And you have the same thing. I could go, I have 30 companies I have right down here on a list. I'm not going to bore you with them. But here's what's going to happen, folks, because I'm really good at this stuff. I've watched this country try and stop the outflow of our companies, therefore the cutting of all of these jobs, And we don't have a 5% unemployment rate. We probably have a 20 or 21% unemployment rate because after watching and looking for jobs, and jobs around here are scarce. I mean, jobs around here, we have a problem over here like you've never seen. I mean, it's terrible what's going on. What's going on is terrible. So what happens is this. We're going to tell these companies, and I've watched the government say, we got to keep our companies. And how about where they give them interest-free loans? And then they forget to say, you have to stay, you can't leave. So they take the money for interest-free, and then they leave anyway, okay? Real geniuses. So here's what we do. We have to use our power of tariffs and taxes. So as an example, Carrier leaves. and they say, we're going to leave. You understand? And by the way, I'm a free trader. But this is unfair trade. This is currency manipulation. This is a lot of things. The government of Mexico, the governments in China, they're giving a lot of things that our government, number one, we're not smart enough to compete. But here's how we compete. They want to move a plant. They're going to build a big plant. They fired all their people in Indiana. And they move their plant, and they move it to Mexico. And I'd say, enjoy your plant. But every air conditioning unit that you make, we're going to charge you a 35% tax as it crosses our very strong border. Because we will have a very strong border. And you know what's going to happen? It's so simple. You know what's going to happen? What's going to happen? They're not going to leave. They're not leaving. Because now their whole bottom line is different. Now, if they want to move to another state, you guys all compete, that's different. But they're staying in the United States. I'll tell you right now, we're not going to continue to lose our jobs because we don't have that many jobs to lose. If you look at the people that have looked for jobs and can't get jobs, it is frightening. It is frightening. And we're not going to let it happen. And all you have to do is that. That's called the power. Now, China does it to us. We never admit it. China dumps everything on us. And yet if you want to sell something in China, it's almost impossible to get it in. And when you do get it in, look at Boeing. Boeing sold 300 jets. They had to give up their lives. They had to give up their intellectual property, which in all fairness, China would steal anyway. They steal $300 billion a year worth of intellectual property. Today you saw the RNC where they were hacked. And they don't know, is it China? Is it Russia? And I'm watching this clown who runs Hillary Clinton's campaign. And I'm sitting there watching, sort of bored, stiff, watching him. And I heard my name mentioned. It was Donald Trump that stole Donald. He's got some deal where Russia stole it for my benefit. Russia. So wait a minute, let's figure this out. Russia stole it for my, and the reason is that Putin likes me. Now, I never met Putin in all fairness. But that Putin likes Trump. And therefore, he went in and he stole it and he wants Trump to win. Okay. Now, I have to say this. Number one, it was one of the weirdest conspiracy theories. See, now, if the Republicans said that, they'd say, it's a conspiracy theory. It's crazy. When the Democrats say it, they say, you know, maybe Trump stole everything from the DNC. Ay, what a group we have, right? What a group we have. Very sad. But, you know, when you think about it, wouldn't it be nice if we actually did get along with Russia? Wouldn't it be nice? Not so bad. Wouldn't it be nice if Russia and us and a couple of others went out and knocked the hell out of ISIS and knocked them off? Wouldn't that be nice? There's nothing wrong with that. You know, a lot of money, very expensive. I mean, the Soviet Union broke up because of the wars. I mean, they spent so much money fighting in Afghanistan that they literally, you know, and believe me, when they started fighting over in the Middle East, it was costing them a lot of money. That's why they stopped so quickly. I know, it's a lot of money. You know, it's no different than a business. It may be big stuff, bigger than you've ever heard of. But they stopped because of the cost. They're not going to say that. One day they stopped. Remember? 3-4 months ago. Boom. I know why they stopped. They stopped because it's expensive. Well, it's expensive for us, too. But wouldn't it be great if we did have good relationships with certain countries? And if we did get together and wipe out ISIS and do what we have to do so that we have a safe world again? Wouldn't that be nice? But when I look at what's going on right now with crooked Hillary Clinton, when I look at what's happening and the disloyalty and the disjointed convention they have, and watch what happens. They'll say tomorrow, it was magnificent, these people. The convention was magnificent. It went off flawlessly. The people are marching on the streets. So I just tell you this, folks. We're going to change our country so much for the better. We're going to be the smart people again. We're not going to be the stupid people again. We're not going to be the stupid people. So we're going to protect our Second Amendment. You know, every time somebody gets shot now, they want to end the Second Amendment. They want to take away your guns. They want to destroy everybody. We are going to have the safety of having the Second Amendment. I have people that live in areas, if they didn't have Second Amendment rights, I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do. So we're going to protect our Second Amendment, which, believe me, if Hillary Clinton wins, it is under siege. It's under siege without a winning. The National Rifle Association endorsed me. And endorsed me like I think the earliest person they've ever endorsed. We are going to protect our Second Amendment. We are going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to repeal it and replace it. We are going to have such strong, smart, fair borders. We're going to have borders. We're going to have a country again. I tell the story. You know, my first state that I won 38 states. Can you believe that? Do you believe this? We started off 38. You know, some of the people said, gee whiz, he won 38 states. That's a lot of states, right? We got more votes than anybody ever got in the history of the primaries. More than anybody by a lot. By a lot. And what's going on is amazing. What's going on is amazing. And I tell this story. Bill O'Reilly recently, he said, it's the single greatest phenomena, politically speaking, that he's ever seen in his lifetime. And I've had many others say that, the commentators. Some of them hate me, and they say it. Because of you, I'm a messenger. But the message is a smart message. It's a common sense. Let me give you an example. Military, NATO. They asked me about NATO, right? You saw that the other day, Meet the Press. Well, I hear you want to give up NATO. I don't want to give up NATO. I like NATO. NATO's fine. But they got to pay. They got to pay. So we have all of these countries, and they're not paying. They're not paying. And we're protecting them. And the question is, if such and such a country were attacked, are you willing to start World War III? Because that's essentially what's happening, right? They don't pay. They said, but we have a treaty. So they have these articles. Donald Trump wants to give up NATO. No, no, no. I don't want to give up that. I want him to pay. We're a country. It's not 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And now most people in this audience don't even know that we're protecting Japan, China, we're protecting Germany. Nothing but money. We're protecting Saudi Arabia. If we weren't around, Saudi Arabia wouldn't be around for 2 weeks. We protect Saudi Arabia. They don't pay us what they should be paying. We lose on everything. Folks, we lose on everything. We protect South Korea. We have 28,000 soldiers on the line against the maniac on the right, okay? We have 28,000 soldiers against North Korea, separating. Pretty dangerous stuff, considering he's got a 1 million-person army, okay? Pretty dangerous stuff. So we're doing all this, and yet they're paying us a fraction of what it is. I saw it with Japan. And by the way, I think it's fine, but they got to pay us. We don't have the money. They got to pay us, and they will pay us if the right person asks, okay? If the right person is. They will. They will. And do you know what difference that makes for our country? Do you have any idea the difference that that makes for our country? If we get countries to take care of us the way they should. And we had a general recently, because I've been doing this, and he said, Mr. Trump doesn't understand that Japan is paying almost 50% of the cost of what we do for them. And I said, why not 100%? Why? Tell me why. Tell me why. Folks, we're run by incompetent people, and it's going to end. And it's going to end soon because people aren't taking it anymore. Now, when I talk about we protect Japan, which is great, now you always have to be prepared to walk. You have to. And I said, in one of the articles, they said, what would happen if they didn't pay? I said, we have to walk. Hillary Clinton said, he wants to walk from Japan. Now, see what she did? She makes it impossible to negotiate. She's not a negotiator. She's a fool. She's a fool. No, she's a fool. Because when you tell Japan, very smart people, great people, I have many friends here, but when you say you're not prepared to walk, you'll never walk. So she said, how dare he say that? We will never walk. Well, they're never going to pay us. Now, we may have to walk. Folks, we may have to walk. But it's the same thing with Germany. We're spending a fortune in Germany. Same thing with Saudi Arabia. Let me tell you, Saudi Arabia, so we'll say this. Folks, you got to pay us, sorry. They're going to say no. Bye-bye. Within 2 days, they're calling back. Get back over here. We'll pay you whatever the hell you want. Okay? 100%. But when we have a fool, an absolute fool, like Hillary Clinton, saying we will never abandon, we will never leave, they're not going to pay. And we don't have the money to continue to take care of every nation in the world. We don't have the money. And the same thing with the NATO nations, and they'll pay, and they'll all pay probably, and if they don't pay, you walk, and that's okay too. That's the way it works, folks. That's the way it works. So look, here's the story. I am so proud to have done what we've done together. All my life, I've been on the cover of Time magazine like a couple of times. And last number of months since I've been doing this, I think I'm 6. We had another cover come out this weekend. I get covers of Time magazine. I don't even read the stories anymore. I say, oh, it's another cover. I take it for granted. Think of it. All my life for real estate, 2 times. All my life for this, which is like 12 months, right? 6 times or 7 times or something. You tell me which is important, politics or real estate. But we are going to be the smart country again. We're going to be the country that people respect. We're going to be the country that jobs don't leave North Carolina and open up plants in Mexico and then send your goods back to the people of North Carolina at the same damn price that you would have paid before, and even more, okay, and even more. No, we're not going to have that anymore, folks. We're not going to have that. And I do mean it. For years and years and years, they've been looking to stop, and it's so easy. The first time I heard it, it took me about 12 seconds. I said, that's all right. When they take our companies, we tax them coming in. So when they make something, a company leaves North Carolina, goes to Mexico, opens a beautiful new plant, everything's wonderful. They make the product. They sell us the product, 0 tax, 0 tariff, 0 anything. They sell North Carolina people the product. Let me tell you, not going to happen anymore because we're not going to let them leave so easily anymore. There are going to be consequences, okay? There are going to be consequences. And you know what? When they hear that, they're not leaving. They're not leaving. And I was going to say, I have friends that are great, great manufacturers. When China and some of these other countries sell their goods, no tax, no nothing, no repercussions, but you can't sell your product in China. It's not free trade. It's free trade from us, but it's not free trade for them. They make it impossible. They make it impossible. Number one, they won't take your product. And if they do take your product, you have to pay a massive, massive tax. And then I listen to these think tanks, and they say Trump isn't a free trader. We're going to be smart traders from now on, folks. We're going to make our country so wealthy that we will be able, finally, to rebuild our military. We'll be able to take care of our Social Security and all of the other programs that everyone wants to cut the hell out of. We can't afford to live the way we're living, not because of anything you're doing, but because of government. And you know, just the final thing, and I've seen these numbers and I think it's shocking. The people that are with me and the smart, and believe me, I have the smart people. These are the smart people. But many of the people, hard worker, they're working harder today than they did 18 years ago. 18 years ago, they made more money in real wages than they made today. They didn't work as hard. They're working harder today than they did 18 years ago, okay? And in many cases today, because of Obamacare, they're forced to have 2 jobs. And we're not going to have that crap anymore. We're not going to have it anymore. So we have an election coming up. We have an election coming up with a very dishonest person. She lied on the email. She got away with it. They called her negligent. They called her everything in the book. Did you lie? Yes, she lied. Yes, she this. Yes, she that. However, we're going to let her off. Look, folks, it's time to stop this baby stuff. We need change. We got to get away from what we're doing. Our country can't take it. Our country can't take it. You know, I tell this story about a friend of mine who was very sick, very, very sick, and just kept living and living and living. The doctor said, can't make it 3 months. He's a year and 2 months, and he's still living. He's tough. He's strong. He's a strong person. I call him, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I say, man, you're amazing. I don't say, but he wasn't supposed to live 3 months. And I compare it in a way to the country. If we lose $800 billion a year on trade, if we lose $505 billion a year just with China alone, If we lose all of these deals, Mexico, our trade deficit is massive, and they're killing us at the border. What's coming across the border in the terms of drugs and people just flowing across the border. And then they say, welcome to the United States. They had a baby here. The baby is now a citizen, okay? And that's not what it says. That's not what it says. By the way, a lot of people think that is, try doing that in Mexico. Have a baby in Mexico and say, the baby is now a Mexican citizen. They'd laugh you out of the place, okay? So look. We're going to be so smart. We're going to be so strong. We're not going to let Syrians, and we're not going to let people come in from countries that are a total mess where they're blowing each other up because they want to blow us up too, and we have enough problems, all right? On November 8th, and I'm going to be here, I'm going to be in North Carolina so much that you're going to get so sick and tired of me. It's true. It's true. You are going to get so sick and tired, you're going to beg me, Mr. Trump, please, we'll give you our vote November 8th. Please don't come back anymore. But I'm coming back because we got to make sure that you vote. All right, look. Thank you. Thank you. And I really appreciate it. And I have to say this. I so appreciate the support from not only North Carolina, from every place in this country. It's the same way. We have unbelievable people. I want it to be where Apple starts making their damn iPhones and computers in our country, not in China. And they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They are going to do it. And plenty of other companies also. So I really appreciate this. This is a fantastic crowd of people, but I really appreciate this. We are going to make our country so great again, so safe again, so strong again. You're going to be so proud of your president. You're going to be so proud, but more importantly, you're going to be so proud of your country again. You're going to be proud. You're not going to be embarrassed anymore. You're going to be proud. And I love you. You have to get your friends. You have to go and vote. We've got to win. North Carolina is a very important state. Hillary's going to take some of the money that's given her by the special interest. They put ads after ads after ads. You know what? She's now spent over $100 million in ads, and I've spent nothing. And you know what? We're leading. Okay? We're leading. And I have to say one thing. I've spent a lot of money on, I've put up $60 million, more than $60 million in my own money. I put up $3.8 million, I think, last week. 3.8 last month. I've spent a lot of money. But you know what's more important? We're getting millions of dollars from people. I think last month in June, in a sort of a 2-week period, we averaged $71. No Republican does that. Republicans, people don't do that. That's not for you. But we averaged $71. And we took in $27 million. Can you believe that? That means people want this country to turn around. So I want to thank you for being here. I love this state. It's a special state. It's a very important state, and we're going to win. Thank you very much, everybody.